Okay, today we're going to look at el se impersonal y pasivo, or the passive and impersonal se. I'm going to try to follow your notes as closely as I possibly can, so please make sure you get everything down. Do not hesitate to pause, rewind, stop, restart, or watch the video several times to make sure you get everything. You will need to submit your notes for credit and for attendance in our day. If you do not submit, you will be marked absent, which is bad. Let's get started. First, we'll take a look at el se impersonal, the impersonal se, which can be the subject of the third person singular form of a verb without an object, meaning the he, she, you formal, or el, ella, usted form of the verb. Using the se impersonal can mean they, one, or you does something. For example, se vive bien en este pueblo. They live well in this town. And this is kind of that English they where we're not really talking about anybody specific. So we might say in English, they say that spinach is good for you. We're not really sure who this they is. It's saying that something is good or bad, or they live or they buy, without actually saying who does it. We could say, se trabaja mucho en este país. One works a lot in this country. We're not saying that you work a lot, I work a lot, he works a lot, she works a lot. We're saying that a person, one, works a lot in this country. Let's look at our se pasivo next, which is really similar. The pronoun se is also used to say that something is done without saying who does it. My nephew does this a lot. He'll come up and say something like, the plate is broken, without saying that he was the one who broke it, or that the dog broke it, or that who knows who broke it, just that it's done. The verb will agree in number with the noun receiving the action. So if we look at my nephew's example, the plate is broken, our verb is going to be singular instead of plural because we only broke one plate. This is what we call the passive se. Let's look at a couple examples. Se vende pan en el supermercado. Is bread sold at the supermarket? Please notice in this example we use se vende because what we're selling, pan, is singular. Se vende is singular, pan is singular. If we had a plural example, donde se pueden comprar unos mapas? Where can you buy maps, or where can one buy maps? Translating it with you is okay here, but keep in mind we're not talking about you specifically. Kind of like how we said at the beginning of Spanish 1, como se dice means how do you say something. Really it means how does one say without being specific about our subject. In this case we have se pueden because what we're trying to buy, mapas, are plural. We have to make sure we keep whatever our noun is and our verb in agreement with singular and plural. We see a lot se habla español, meaning that Spanish is spoken. We're not saying that in this case, the quality inn, we're not saying that the guy behind the counter speaks Spanish, that one of the cleaning people speaks Spanish, but Spanish is spoken. There will be somebody there who will be able to help you in Spanish. Well, most of the time. The passive say is often used to say what is or is not allowed. And this is probably the most common everyday usage of the passive say. You'll see this a lot as you look around. We might say something like, se prohíbe fumar, meaning that smoking is prohibited. In this case, we're not saying you can't smoke. We're not saying he can't smoke. We're saying that the act of smoking is prohibited. We could also say no se permite nadar. Swimming is not permitted. Again, we're not saying you can't swim, I can't swim, they can't swim, but that swimming as an act is not allowed. Notice that neither of these sentences have distinct subjects. We can't say that this is in the he, she form, in the they form, in the you form. It's just our passive form. Here's a handful of common verbs you're going to see with the passive say. See prohibir, prohibit. permitir, to permit. Deber, which is a little bit tricky to translate in English. This is should. So I could say something like se debe estudiar. One should study. We have vender, to sell. Encontrar, to find. Comprar, to buy. On your notes, please go ahead and give one sentence using the passive say to tell what one does at each place on your notes. Yes, I spelled say wrong. Make sure when you're done, you go ahead and submit your notes on Learn so you can get credit for doing it.